Hi guys, hey, today we're going to go through some things that have been in the news lately that might affect your house buying journey. What are all these things? Let's find out next. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Dave Edwards, Treasure Valley Dave here. And today I want to talk about some things I've seen in the news lately. You know, there's so much going on with our economy. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that if you're thinking that Idaho might be the place for you and you want to know more to find out for sure or to for sure not, please give us a call, text, email. It doesn't matter. We're all here looking forward to answering your questions, as a matter of fact. And also, if you like this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe. All that helps immensely. And then share it with other people that might find this interesting. So let's get right to it, huh? So I've got this story here that talks about 4 predictions for the housing market in 2022. And I looked through it and, I kind of agree with what they're saying. So that's what the experts, the first prediction they have is that there may be less competition for higher priced homes. And that's exactly right. Things are kind of slowing down there, and mortgage rates are on the rise, interest rates. So that means that people that were aiming for this house might have to go with this house. And the people that were looking at this house and can stay with that one, then there's going to be more competition for it. So the further you go down with the cheaper price point, I think there's going to be more competition. But there's going to be less competition at the higher price points. So I guess it depends on what boat you're in, whether that's good news or bad news. As a result, the increase in mortgage rates means that homebuyers will have to adjust their expectations. That's exactly what we're seeing going on. Prediction number 2 is rising mortgage rates may force some buyers out of the market. Sad, but true. If you're like right on the edge and you could have made it when interest rates were 2 and now they're not, that's not good. And I really find it bad for that situation. So just make a plan, don't give up, and give me a call. And we've got different ideas that we can work with you. We've got great resources when it comes to lenders and things like that. We can't wave a magic wand and go back to 1985 in our DeLorean. Oh no, you don't want to go back to 85. Interest rates were terrible back then. That's when I bought my house, 13.5% interest. So we'll just deal with reality today. How's that? So number 3 for the predictions is that home prices are going to keep going up. And no, this is a national news story. It's for the entire country, right? And it's very true too. Home prices are going to keep going up. Growth will slow somewhat. And well, let's hold off on that thought until we get further along in this video. And don't expect for this to become a seller's market anytime soon. Well, that's very true. So it's like they say things are going to slow down. It's like, okay, so the market's going along like this, and instead of slowing down, like going like that, it's going to slow down in that it only comes down a little bit, but it's still going kind of up. Does that make sense? So prediction 4, some employees may face difficult decisions about returning to work in person, and that may impact their housing cost. Yep, that's very true. We've had several clients that, because COVID taught companies and employees that they could work remotely, that have moved up here and work remotely. And that may not be as much of an option in the future. I hope so. But also, we have a lot of jobs up here, a lot of, not just construction and agriculture. We have high tech and medical and just, everything that you would find in any kind of, we are a capital city. We're the biggest city in the entire state. So, we got something going on up here, right? So, housing in Boise. So this is a Bloomberg story. So this is Jonathan Levin. He may never have even been to Idaho before. And I say that because there's that one guy on the YouTube, it's got anyway, he's always capping on Boise. He lives in Texas. And I don't think he's ever been here because the stuff he puts out there, while the numbers might be accurate, they have absolutely no context. Which would be like saying, I weigh 165. No context. I'm not saying I weigh pounds or I'm on Mars or something. Context is important. Boise housing market starts to break in Boise. So we're flirting with falling prices. I mean, sometimes, but so it's like, builders, they get so much inventory buildup, they need to shift it. Sometimes they'll put incentives out there. But sometimes it's like they were so aggressive in raising their prices that they kind of went a little too far. So now they're going to back down a little bit. So I don't think there's any major market thing going on that's making our prices come down. It's certainly not like way too much inventory and way too little demand. Not really. So if you're wondering where the U.S. market, real estate market might start to show its cracks, keep an eye on Boise. There's that gloom and doom again. They're always capping on Boise. Why? I think they're jealous. You know what I mean? And they got their little charts and their numbers and blah, blah, blah. No context. But they do get this part right. For all their lifestyle appeal and relative value compared with California and New York, he's talking about other states, like more red states. Some of these markets compressed a whole decade worth of home price appreciation into a couple years. A development that became downright unhealthy. Well, I will certainly agree with that. I was going to say it's like a roller coaster, except it kept going up and up and up. So if things slow down, not go down, but slow down, then I think that's a great thing because it's going to give wages a chance to catch up. It's going to give builders a chance to catch up. And we'll have, it's still not going to be a buyer's market, but there's going to be a little bit more ease in the process. Like you're not going to have multiple offers and you have to go thousands over and you have to waive inspections and things like that. So I think that's going to be an absolute good thing. There's going to be a lot of agents that are going to appreciate that too, because when times get tough and it's, we put our heart and soul in this sometimes, and we're right along there with you. So to be sure, slowing growth doesn't necessarily mean the prices will start to drop. We were just talking about that. Many of the buyers are coming from elsewhere, including well-paid Californians, still cashing in on the remote work arbitrage. Boise is far cheaper than San Francisco or Los Angeles, just as Tampa is a tremendous bargain for New Yorkers. Well, that's true. So it's cheaper here, even though, it's more expensive than it used to be. It's cheaper here than a lot of other places. And you get the quality of life too. I mean, if you had the choice, and maybe you could still work remotely or whatever, it's like you can come up here and get a great house. It's cheaper than so many other markets, and we have such a great quality of life. I mean, even our worst traffic up here is nothing. Our worst traffic here is going to be like the 405 at 3 a.m. So it's not that bad, although it's worse than it was. So it depends who you talk to. Context means so much. Should I wait? Waiting on the housing market to crash? Don't experts say. Here's how today's market is different from the Great Recession housing bubble. So, and I do hear that pretty frequently. And Patrick, hi. And it's like, the crash is coming. I'm going to wait because the crash is coming. And okay, that's certainly one option. Home prices are higher than they've ever been, and they show no signs of stopping. Okay, that could be like the tulip bubble of 14 whatever. And it's just going up until it stops and then it's going to crash. But is that going to happen with our housing market? Home buyers do see similarities between what's happening today and the 2006 housing market. I hear that pretty frequently. 77% of home buyers believe there's a bubble where they live. And a bubble means it's going to pop. A pop means it's going to crash. And is that really the case? Let's continue on. Today's market differs significantly from what happened 15 years ago, driven by loose lending practices and rampant investor speculation. Apparently, we don't have that this time around. Daryl Fairweather, chief of economist at Redfin, said, waiting for the market to crash might not yield the results buyers hope for. There's not really any room for there to be a bubble right now. It's not like people have borrowed too much, and it's not like homes are overvalued. So it's like the prices for homes right now, there's a very valid economic reason for them to be where they are. Um, there it is. There's a big one right there. It's just that there aren't enough homes for everybody who wants one. But what are we doing about that up here? Obviously, if we don't build any more homes, supply is going to go down, and California's not getting any better, is it? So demand's going to continue strong. So the Boise Bench Farm could see around 1,000 new rental homes soon. So this is a place not too far from the downtown Boise area, over on the bench, and they're building quite a few multifamily units. And in short, a significant number of multifamily homes for rent. So that's kind of good. That should help alleviate some of our housing crisis. You know, as strong as our home selling prices are, so is rents. Rents have been going up just as much, and finding a rental is very difficult. So here's where it is now in Boise, is where these places are going. So there's a freeway. We only have the one freeway, remember? And there's Vista. The airport's over here, and it's this area right here. So this is going to be very nice because you could jump right on the freeway. You can go down Vista to get to downtown Boise if that's where you're living. There's all sorts of industry down this way from the freeway or whatever. I think it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to help. Is it going to be the end all and be all? No, but so we have out in the Eagle, north of Eagle, 7,000 houses planned and 2,200 to start. So the Eagle City Council just approved the plan, and this is the start of 2,200 homes, and those are going to be getting underway very soon. So where is that? That is, well, here's a nice little map, and this is Eagle, or there's Star, there's Eagle. This is that road that goes up and down between them, and this goes on up to Emmett, and then it's just right in this area here. So what's kind of cool about this, I came from Nebraska, big farm country, a lot of ag land and stuff like that, and very similar in Vacaville, Central Valley. They're saying, oh, we're building, what used to be crops are now houses. We're growing houses, and we're taking away all this valuable ag land. And, there's certainly a good argument to be made there. In this case, this is up in the foothills. It's not being used for agriculture. You can see it's all brown and dirty and sagebrushy and stuff like that, or ag lands down here. So that they're going to be building this many houses up in that area where they're not taking up valuable ag land, I think that's a pretty cool thing. Let's see what else is over here. I think that's it. Well, a nice thing too is, so this Highway 16, this is the one they're going to be extending down a couple more miles until it hits Interstate 84. So we're going to have a really great north-south corridor through there. So at some point, if you're living in that new area, a couple years down the road, you're going to have easy access to just about anywhere in the valley. I think that's pretty cool. Interest rates are still interesting. Why home buying makes sense now? Well, and that's very true. Low interest rates have been igniting home buyers for the past 2 years. Yeah, we've seen a lot of people take advantage of those low. Did I say it was low? Low rates. I've heard some buyers question whether they should buy now. Rising mortgage rates is nothing to fear. From a historical standpoint, 5% mortgage rate is still remarkably low. Very true. Check the history, and they're talking about over the past how its interest rates for mortgages have been significantly higher. Like when I bought my house, 13.5% interest, and I was happy to get it. And I remember I refinanced years later at 7%. And I thought, wow, life is great. I'm loving 7%. There it is, all context again, right? Consider inflation. And that's very true too. So if you're renting right now, inflation's going up. Do you think every year your lease is going to be more? Your rent's going to be more and more every month, every time your lease renews? Or maybe after the first year, you go on a month by month, and then your landlord can raise it anytime. And if rents go up, I don't know, say 25, 30% a year, then it would kind of, they would probably have a lot of incentive to raise your rates throughout the year. But if you get a loan, even if it's at 5%, you know your mortgage and your interest on that is going to be always the same forever and ever. Amen. Um, your rent, you can't say that because your rent's going to go up. So, yep, 5%. It's not historically a terrible rate. Inflation is, well, talk about historical. We haven't seen this. It says 7.9. I'm going to say it's probably a lot more than that. I mean, gas has doubled, right? More than doubled. January 20th last year, the last day Trump was in office, gas right here was $1.99. So now we're up to like $4.50 range, something like that. So yeah, that's more than doubled. So, and everything that you have came on a truck, needed fuel, needed energy to make, to deliver, and so at 7.9%, I believe inflation's going to be more than that right now, and it's certainly going to be more than that in the future. So why do I say all that? Because if you get into your house, you lock your payment, that's your payment. But there are some things that can change your payment, and that would be like your taxes. So we'll get to that in just one second. I guess it's just reiterating what I was just saying. As inflation's rise, cost of everything goes up. So, taxes. So remember, your elections have consequences, right? So recently, you can see this just came out today, schools hesitant to join Idaho's health insurance plan with incoming funding boost. So what does all this mean? You're not in education, Treasure Valley Dave? Well, that's true too. Here's a key line right here. Governor Brad Little proposed the benefits boost in his January State of the State address and has signed into law a policy bill and spending bill to execute the change. So what is this? Well, this is where, did anybody tell you it's an election year up here? And we have a fierce battle for the governorship. Here, our governors are decided in the primaries. We have only 15% Democrat. So the general election doesn't mean a whole lot, but the primaries, or the Republicans, are vying for the position in the general election. It's whoever becomes the Republican nominee in the primary is going to be the governor come November. So our election is next month, this May 17th, I believe. And so here's the governor buying votes. I mean, could we say that and still be honest about it? The only thing is, it's like with any government spending, and you see this from the federal government on down. They give you some, but they don't give you all. So what happened here is that the Governor Little, state government, is going to be giving X amount of money to the school districts, but not enough. But on the bottom line, districts say they'll be a little short of the annual funding need. Nampa district, for example, said they're going to be over $600,000 short. So that's going to be like the first year, they're going to be a little short. Maybe they could make up for that someplace else. Or maybe they'll have to raise your taxes that little bit. But the teachers and administrators are getting like so much more. But what about next year? And next year, expenses go up. The state doesn't want to give as much to the districts anymore. And then they've already promised the employees that they're going to be getting this level of healthcare package, or whatever the benefit is, or higher wages, or whatever. It's kind of like a rope-a-dope thing. So and then also this story does say that another reason that state funding may be earmarked for school employee health insurance, but schools can spend that at their discretion. So maybe you get some school districts that's going to say, well, yeah, we could send that over for this, but we have these projects that probably wouldn't sound good if we went out to get a bond passed. But if we put our money over there and then come back and say, oh, we have this big need community, we need you to pass this school bond for the children. So then that's where it goes. So this is a very, very slippery slope. And I'm really proud that there's some school districts up here in Idaho, they're saying, whoa, maybe we don't want to do that. All the free money isn't necessarily free. So that's some of the stuff I've seen in the news. And if there's any news articles that you'd like to bring to my attention, or you have some opinions on these things, please go ahead and leave some comments. I really enjoy going through those. I respond to them. I learn from them. And I think that's a great way that we can communicate. Another way we can communicate is if you reach out to us and you say, telephone, text, email, whatever, and say, hey, I'm kind of interested in maybe moving to Idaho. I'd like to know more about it. Well, all of us here on the team, we've relocated from someplace else, and we'd love to answer your questions. And it's fun. It really is. So if you're sitting there going, no, I don't want to bother Dave, it's going to be another 6 months or so, bother me. I like being bothered. Give me a call. Let's talk. Come up here on your fact-finding trip. Let's go do lunch. I'm getting pretty excited already. And like, share, and subscribe this video. It really does help out. I appreciate that. Well, this has been fun. And until next time, this is Treasure Valley Dave. Looking forward to helping you get home.